growth never ends. You don't arrive, you just keep becoming a new favorite version of yourself. Bethany Clemenson. Last week, I shared with you my conversation with Bethany Clemenson, founder of Big Life Resources. On this episode, I will share with you my takeaways and just how I have begun to change my life based on my conversation with Bethany. Also, stick around because I have something very special for you. Welcome to the Stitched for Success podcast, where we are teaching business and life lessons that will help you launch, grow, or scale your creative business. I am Monica Allen, and I'm a wife, mom, daughter, entrepreneur, author, friend, lifelong learner, and host of this podcast. For over 8 years, I was stuck in corporate and dreamt of escaping. Creating a side hustle with just $700 and having taken the leap over 15 years ago, we have since grown multiple six-figure and seven-figure brands. Being an entrepreneur for over 18 years has afforded me many successes and a few failures. I want to share those with you so you can grow and be successful in your business. This episode is brought to you by Zeus's Closet. Do you wear clothes with your company's logo on them? Do you give your clients or customers promotional products to help them remember you and your team? Here at Zeus's Closet, we're like a tattoo shop for your clothes and more. We help many companies provide their entire team with branded apparel for themselves and promotional products to leave with clients and customers. Wearing branded apparel helps colleagues feel like part of a team and makes your company look more professional. Visit Zeus'sCloset.com today for your branded apparel needs. If you missed the previous episode 78 with Bethany, you should go back and check it out. After working many years as a nurse and climbing the corporate ladder of an elder care corporation, Bethany gave it all up to live a bigger, more fulfilled life. My takeaways from that episode has left me really thinking through decisions I make in my life and business every day. My first takeaway is sometimes you outgrow things. We have all had this happen in our lives. If we are continuing to grow, we have outgrown friends, we have outgrown jobs, and sometimes we've even outgrown family members. I have found when I open my brain and heart to learn new things by reading books or magazines, listening to podcasts, or even just having a conversation with certain people, it can change my perspective in life. I outgrew my corporate job because it was no longer a challenge to me and no longer filled my inner desire of making a change in the world and growing something I could call my own. So sometimes we just outgrow things. My second takeaway was people will give you advice based on their perspective. Bethany mentioned this when she was speaking to her church group and letting them know that she is thinking about leaving her job, leaving her corporate career. But recently, I finished Will Smith's new book, Will, and he mentioned the same thing. His mom really pushed college. It is what saved her, got her out of her community to make a better life for her family. So that was really all she could see as a way for Will and his siblings to get ahead in life as well. It was her perspective, her lens, and she could really only lean into him from that lens. I say this point as a reminder to be careful who you ask for advice or seek confirmation from, because if someone has not walked in similar shoes, it is very difficult for them to truly give you advice based on your circumstances or through your lens and give you the insight that you need in your specific situation. This could be in business or in your personal life as well. And this is one of the aspects of Entrepreneurs Organization, or EO, which I know I mention a lot, but this is one of the things I really like about this organization. The small groups that they create of business owners, known as a forum, is not allowed to provide advice. You are only to what they call experience share, meaning they can tell you about a similar situation that they've experienced in their business or in their life, but they're not allowed to give you advice. Again, more often than not, people will give you advice based on their perspective. Another takeaway, we are designed to be like a river. I love this, and I am doing my best to embody that this week, embody that as we enter this holiday season, not to be under pressure, but rather be in flow. Okay, in all transparency, this is truly a difficult one for me because I have always felt the hustle. I have always felt like I've got to go, go, go to get it done, to accomplish my goals. But recently, being a pretty active participant in the Clubhouse community, I've met Bethany as well as a couple of other ladies who really talk about being in flow. And you hear the phrase go with the flow. I really feel like I'm just now beginning to understand that phrase. Take this podcast, for instance. I decided to start this podcast with not a huge plan in place for where it will go or where it will take me, but it has given me an opportunity to reach people that I would have never known. It has also given me an opportunity to do a couple of podcasting workshops to teach others about podcasting and what I've learned through podcasting. Had I decided to go with a grand plan from the beginning, it could honestly not have worked. Those things would have not been on the list. So I'm learning to go with the flow. I'm learning to be more like a river. And I have begun to ask myself each day when I feel the pressure, why am I feeling the pressure? How can I get in alignment and be more in flow with what I'm doing? What should I be doing differently? And if I'm not in flow, how can I outsource those things or delegate those things that make me out of alignment? So I love this one. We are designed to be like a river. Okay, this fourth takeaway is a good one as well. When I get this, then I will feel that. Bethany refers to this as conditional thinking. Talking about a way to make yourself feel miserable. This doesn't mean you don't aim to accomplish goals or make a better life for you and your family. But what I took from it is that you have to have a level of contentment in the present while growing in the areas you desire as well. It means not being so consumed by getting that you lose sight of your health, your family, your friends, and genuine connections, the things that really matter in the end. And last but not least, focus on feeling good. We know that all things in life aren't going to feel good. Loved ones will pass and we will have heartache and pain to contend with. But for the things we can't control, how can we feel good about it? Do we need to reframe the situation? As Bethany mentioned, saying, I get to pay my electric bill in the middle of the day, or I have the resources to pay this bill, is much better than, I have to pay this bill. Or for me, rather than I have to go to the office and do back-to-back appointments, I can say, I get to go into the office, connect with great clients, and grow my business by establishing a brand that people trust. Bethany even mentioned the small things that can make us feel good, like a great piece of stationery or a pen. My froth coffee creamer and a pretty notebook makes me feel really good. I feel somewhat guilty, somewhat self-absorbed saying, focus on feeling good. But when you focus on feeling good and you don't want the things that deplete you to take away all your energy, then we can really focus on changing that because we know our ultimate goal is to feel good. And with that focus, we can live a big life. Just like Bethany talks about in Big Life Resources, we can live a big life and live the life we desire. As always, I only shared a few of my takeaways, but there were so many more. Thanks to Bethany for becoming a part of the Stitched for Success family and sharing so deeply with us. I want to also give you guys a quick business update. I like to do that from time to time. Well, we're still short-staffed. I'm not really sure what's going on in the marketplace. I don't know, people aren't working. I heard on the radio earlier today that people are fearful of going back to work, some survey that was taken. And so maybe that is part of it. But I want to know what people are doing for money, what people are doing to make a living and to pay bills. Just curious. But in all honesty, we're short-staffed, but we're enjoying the reduced payroll expenses. We've just resolved that going into the new year, we'll be closed a few times because we have a few conferences and trips on the books. But we're still working to grow Zeus's Closet, and we're working to grow our Zeus's Closet online presence, much like our Stuff for Greeks online presence. So we'll still be able to get in orders despite being closed physically in our retail stores. So I'll keep you all up to date on that progress. Also, I'm currently working on a planner that will help us bosses stay on top of things. I've been using it for myself for over a year and find it really, really helpful, and I can get stuff done using this planner. So once I have that published, I will make sure I share that with you all. And lastly, I'm curious to know, how do you set goals? Do you assess your accomplishments during this time of year and see what goals you reached and what you did not? Do you set new goals at the beginning of each year? Do you set New Year's resolutions? I personally don't use the word resolutions. I like goals personally, but I know everybody kind of has their thing. Anyway, I'm hosting a 3-day goals challenge. This challenge will take you from just goal setting to actually goal getting, meaning you're actually accomplishing all the things you desire in 2022. It won't be a huge commitment. It's also not a huge expense. I'm asking just for 45 minutes to an hour of your time for 3 days, and it's absolutely free. When we are done at the end of 3 days, you will have a clear vision for 2022. If you normally set goals or you do not, this challenge is for you. And if you're interested in joining the challenge, please go to thegoalschallenge.com and leave me your name and email address. I'll send you more info in the next few days regarding the Facebook group. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am truly grateful for you joining me. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Stitch for Success. Also, we have a Stitch for Success Facebook group. Feel free to join that. On all of these platforms, I provide you with inspiration, support, and tips for running a successful business. If you haven't already, please subscribe and rate the podcast on Apple or Audible. Also, if you could tell at least one entrepreneurial friend about the podcast or an aspiring entrepreneur, I'd appreciate it. You can send them a link to this show or just one of your favorite episodes. Thanks again for listening, and have a great one.